America's political system often feels like a car crash in slow motion. It's messy, loud, and everyone involved seems to be yelling. But here's the thing, it was designed that way. The Founding Fathers, those powdered wig-wearing architects of democracy, were deeply suspicious of concentrated power. They'd just fought a revolution to escape a king, so the last thing they wanted was another tyrant, even an elected one. So, they crafted a system built on a foundation of distrust, a system designed to be slow, inefficient, and resistant to rapid change. Think of it as a Rube Goldberg machine of governance. Power is fragmented, divided between the president, Congress, and the courts. Each branch has its own distinct powers and each can block the actions of the others. This intricate system of checks and balances, while intended to prevent tyranny, often leads to the political equivalent of a staring contest where nothing gets done. This deliberate gridlock was a feature, not a bug, of the Founding Fathers' design. They feared the tyranny of the majority as much as they feared the tyranny of a single ruler. Their goal was to create a system where no single person or group could seize absolute power, even if that meant sacrificing efficiency in the process. But this system, designed for a fledgling nation in the 18th century, is now grappling with the complexities of the 21st. The question we face today is whether this intricate, deliberately inefficient system designed to prevent tyranny is actually preventing us from governing ourselves effectively. The Founding Fathers didn't just fear concentrated power, they were downright terrified of it. They'd seen firsthand the dangers of unchecked authority in the hands of a king. They were determined to avoid repeating that mistake, so they doubled down on their commitment to limited government, creating a system designed to make it really hard for anyone to get anything done. They divided the legislative branch into two houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, each with its own distinct powers. The Senate, with its longer terms and statewide constituencies, was meant to be the cooler, more deliberative body, a check on the more impulsive House. The House, with its shorter terms and smaller, more localized constituencies, was designed to be closer to the people, more responsive to their immediate needs and demands. This bicameral legislature, while theoretically elegant, often devolves into a battleground of partisan politics. Bills passed easily in one chamber can die a slow, painful death in the other. This is not a bug, it's a feature. The Founding Fathers wanted to make passing laws difficult, a process requiring compromise and consensus. They believed this would prevent the government from enacting hasty or ill-conceived legislation. They also created a federal system, dividing power between the national government and the states. This further fragmented power, creating a complex web of overlapping jurisdictions and responsibilities. While this system has its merits, allowing states to tailor laws to their unique needs, it also creates confusion, inefficiency, and sometimes, outright conflict. Gerrymandering, a term that might sound like a quirky game, but in reality, it's a powerful tool that has a profound impact on the U.S. political system. The term originates from 1812 when Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry signed a bill that redistricted the state to benefit his party. The resulting district's shape was so bizarre it was said to resemble a salamander, hence the term gerrymander, gap 2s. But what is gerrymandering exactly? It's the manipulation of electoral district boundaries to favor one party over another. Politicians draw these boundaries in ways that pack voters of the opposing party into a few districts, or spread them out across many, diluting their influence. This practice ensures that the party in power can maintain control even if they don't have the majority of votes. Gap 2s. The impact of gerrymandering is profound and far-reaching. It undermines the concept of fair representation, making some votes count more than others. Stock footage of distorted district maps and news reports on gerrymandering scandals can be shown here. This manipulation often leads to safe seats, where incumbents face little to no competition. As a result, politicians become more extreme, catering to their base rather than the broader electorate, further fueling political polarization. Gap 2s. The process of gerrymandering is also shrouded in secrecy. In many states, the redistricting process is controlled by partisan legislatures, with little transparency or public input. This lack of accountability erodes trust in the democratic process, making voters feel disillusioned and disconnected. Gap 2s. Efforts to combat gerrymandering have been met with mixed success. Some states have established independent redistricting commissions to draw fairer and more competitive districts, reducing partisan influence. However, these reforms face significant opposition from those who benefit from the status quo. Gap 2S. Gerrymandering is more than just a political tactic. It's a fundamental threat to the principles of democracy. It skews representation, deepens divides, and erodes public trust. As long as it remains a part of the political landscape, the promise of equal representation for all Americans remains unfulfilled. America loves a good competition, especially when it comes to politics, but somewhere along the way, the contest for control of the government devolved into a two-party system that often feels more like a cage match than a civil debate. This wasn't the Founding Fathers' plan, but it's the system we're stuck with, thanks in part to the way we vote. We use a winner-take-all system, often called first-past-the-post. This means the candidate with the most votes wins, even if it's not a majority. This system naturally favors two dominant parties because it's incredibly difficult for smaller parties to gain a foothold. Imagine a pie chart of voters, with two giant slices representing the Democrats and Republicans, and a bunch of tiny slivers representing everyone else. The smaller parties have little chance of winning any seats, making it hard to build support and challenge the status quo. This two-party system contributes to the polarization plaguing American politics. With only two viable options, parties are incentivized to take extreme positions to appeal to their bases, rather than seeking common ground. This leaves moderate voters feeling politically homeless, forced to choose the lesser of two evils, rather than a candidate who truly represents their views. The Electoral College, that quirky, confusing system for electing the president, is a relic of a bygone era, a system that seems increasingly out of touch with the realities of modern America. It was created at a time when communication was slow, travel was arduous, and most Americans got their news from pamphlets carried by horseback. In this context, the Electoral College made a certain amount of sense. It was designed to ensure that the president was chosen by informed electors, rather than by the whims of the masses. Fast forward to the 21st century, where information travels at the speed of light, and the Electoral College looks increasingly like an artifact from a museum. Critics argue that it gives too much power to swing states, those few states where the election is often decided. This means that candidates can win the presidency without winning the popular vote, as happened in 2016 and 2000. This disconnect between the popular vote and the electoral outcome undermines the principle of one person, one vote, a cornerstone of democratic legitimacy. The debate over the Electoral College is unlikely to be settled anytime soon, but it highlights the challenges of adapting a system designed for the 18th century to the realities of the 21st. In conclusion, the U.S. political system, with its deep-rooted issues like gerrymandering, a two-party system, and historical complexities, continues to face significant challenges. While these problems may seem insurmountable, understanding them is the first step towards meaningful reform. Gap 2S. The future of American democracy depends on the collective efforts of its citizens to demand and enact change. It requires a commitment to education, activism, and participation in the democratic process. Imagine a system where every vote truly counts, where elected officials are accountable to the diverse voices of their constituents, and where the principles of democracy are upheld with integrity. That vision is not just a dream but a possibility, if we all work together. Thank you for watching.